Hello, students. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. First of all, I would like to say thank you very much for coming. And second one is to thank the organization, NAMA Foundation, for supporting us with this program. They have established a very good initiative to help you students and even we teachers, to regain our connection as it was before the occurrence of Corona, COVID-19. So number three, uh, my name is Abdullah Juma Shabani Kondo. I'm teaching biology at Ihsan Islamic Secondary School, and I'll be with you in this session. And today we are going to talk about the structure of cell and operation, but specifically we are going to subject number one, which is the concept of cell. So we shall have three parts of our sessions. Part number one is for introduction, and we're going to share and build up our foundation for the next stage. And the second stage, it will be short presentation for myself. I present to you some materials, okay, which are somehow new to you, but not that much. And the last session, it will be a discussion again, where we are going to have a short discussion about maybe any question that you will have, and some question I'm going to give you, okay, so you're going to practice within the session. And that will be how our session is. So I'm going to start by introducing this topic of today. Remember, we are talking about the cell structure and organization. This is the main topic, but we are going to discuss about the concept of cell. So you are going to familiarize yourself with things like the meaning of the cell, but also types of cells. But also you are going to learn characteristics of cells, and also you are going to learn about different in different cities to explain the concept of cell. So I would like to say welcome all of you and feel free in this session. Another thing very important before to start our session is make sure that you have pen and you have your exercise book or notebook for taking things which are very important for you for future use. Uh, we have decided to choose this topic because according to the time, okay, that we have, I'm sure that even if the school will open today, your teacher will go fast so that syllabus. So through this, you shall cover both two topics. So it will be a good for you to cover, okay, even if we have faced this problem of COVID-19, but still academically you will be good. So we are going to start like this. Okay, because of the setting plan which has been used, I am supposed to introduce myself. So let's share this one here so that we can start our presentation directly. Okay, we are going to talk about the concept of the cell. Okay, on the part of introduction, we are going to focus on the meaning of the cell itself. And before that one, we have to have this brief, okay, experience from our daily life that many things have been made up, okay, from combination of different things. For example, your house, or I can say the house that we are living, they have been made up, okay, after the combination of different bricks, okay. So at the end of the day, we have the complete house, but there is a combination of things which are very, very basic, and here we are talking about blocks. The same way, okay, living things, they have been made up of very, very small unity called the cell. So we shall see the background or the discovery of this structure, and also we shall see in this topic, okay, how it performs different functions. That means how it has been specialized, okay, to perform different functions in the bodies of living things. So what is the cell? The cell is the basic unit of life of all living things. Okay, no matter how big it is or how small it is, but its life depends on the presence of this structure called the cell. Um, Also, we have to know that now we are going to see the short history on how this structure was discovered. And we are going to see directly the man called Robert Hooke, okay, in 1635 up to 1703. This is the period where this man lived. So during this period, he discovered this structure, and at that time he did an experiment by using a microscope, okay, which he made himself. And he saw, okay, after putting the sample from the crop of plants, after putting on the microscope, he saw small structures look like box, okay, small box, and he decided to call them cells. So he was the first man to provide this structure, this name cell. So if someone asks you who was the first scientist to discover, okay, a cell, just to mention, he is Robert Hooke. And examples now of cells, okay? We have sperm cells, we have ova cells, okay? We have nerve cells, we have epithelial cells, okay? We have palisade cells from plants, we have guard cells from plants, okay. All of these are examples of cells. You are going to see there are so many different types of cells which are found in different organisms, and they are performing different functions. So you will have an opportunity when we are exploring this topic, you will come across with those cells. So in short, we have seen that the cell is a basic unit of life of all living things. And we have seen the first scientist to discover this cell is called Robert Hooke. And also we have seen examples of cells. Okay, I have mentioned some of them. But also another thing which is very important you have to know is living things based on the number of cells which made their bodies, we can categorize them into two groups. Okay, we call them unicellular organisms and multicellular organisms. We call them unicellular organisms and multicellular organisms, as you can see here. So organisms which have been made up of only one cell, okay, we call them unicellular organisms. The word unicellular, the word uni means one or single. Okay, cellular means cell. So unicellular organisms means organisms made up of a single cell. And a good example of these organisms are bacteria. Okay, we have amoeba. Okay, and we have euglena, we have plasmodium. All of these organisms, they have been made up of only one cell. The second group is multicellular organisms. As the name itself suggests, that multi means many, okay, cellular means cell. So these organisms, they have been made up of many cells. So for example, human being, our bodies is made up of approximately millions of cells, not only one cell, but it is millions of cells. I don't. I'm trying to think about the elephant. Okay, how many number of cells will be found on its body? Okay, so it's a point of just making investigation, but it is known that some of organisms, their bodies have been made up of many numbers of cells. Okay, we are moving forward. We have seen now that we can categorize living things based on the number of cells which make their bodies into two, either unicellular organisms or multicellular organisms. Okay, and examples of multicellular organisms, it includes you and me and other animals and plants, okay, and other examples that you know, okay, they are familiar to you. Okay? So we are moving forward now. Now let's see, after Robert Hooke to discover, okay, this structure, and he named it, okay, it is a cell. Later on, different scientists came and do, okay, and they did, okay, some, okay, investigations further, okay, on the field. I mean, they continued to speculate on this structure, so-called cells, and also they discovered a number of things. So they decided to put them together and form statements which explain, okay, about cells. So here we have Robert Hooke and other scientists, for example, scientists like Schwann, and another one is Sladen. Okay, all of these they did, okay, investigations, and finally they come up with postulates to explain, okay, or they come up with different statements to explain about the cell. So those collection of the statements, we call them cell theory. Okay, so you have cell and the theory. So theory, it can be a statement or group of statements which explain a certain phenomena. So we have cell theory. That means we have group of statements, okay, which explain about the cell. So let's see what are those ideas, okay, suggested by those scientists to explain about the cell. So the idea number one, after completing the investigations, they said that all living things are composed of cells. So as I said before, no matter how big it is or how small it is, okay, it can be a housefly or it can be a very small organisms like the ants. Okay, all of these, they have been composed with cells. So that is idea number one you have to know from today, that all living things, their bodies have been composed of cells. So it can be one cell only or many cells. Okay, so get that point. Okay, the second point is they said that cells are the basic unit of structure and function in living things. That means different parts, okay, within the body of an organism, they have been made up of different cells combined together or united together to form that part. For example, in our bodies, we have different parts like heart, liver, okay, intestine, small and large intestine. We have skin, we have eyes, we have ears. All of these, okay, they have been made up of different cells which are working to enable them to perform their functions. So, for example, you are able to see, okay, clearly because within your eyes you have a space able to convert now the light, okay, message, get the feedback, and you'll be able to this okay, sorry, the problem of network, but we are proceeding with our session as usual. Okay, we are still talking about the ideas suggested by different scientists to explain about a cell. So we are point number 3. Okay, we are talking about all cells are, okay, all cells. No, number 2. Okay, cells are the basic unit of structure and function. Okay, in living things. So the way your eyes is, okay, it contains different cells which enable it to perform different functions. Or I can say in a simple way that cells, they are combining together to form tissue, and the tissues, they will combine to form organs, and organs, they will combine to form systems. So we have different systems in our bodies, okay, which perform different functions, but the basic, okay, thing which lead to their formations is cell. So the first thing to be used to make the huge system like digestive system, or like a breathing system, or like a blood circulation system is cells. Okay, well, next point, they talked about all cells are produced from other cells. Okay, that means pre-existing cells. Because cells themselves, they are living thing. That means they are supposed to come from living things also. It is impossible to get a cell from non-living things. Okay, so they discovered this point that the cells of living things, they must come from the pre-existing one. That means the new ones, they are coming from the pre-existing cells. The pre-existing cells, after being matured enough, okay, it will undergo some processes to divide itself and form new cells. You will cover this topic in Form 4 when you will be discussing about growth, okay, and development. You will see how cells are dividing, okay, to lead to the growth of an organism from the infant stage up to the adult one. Okay, another point they talked about cells contain inherited information which controls their activities. So within the cell, there are materials called the DNA. So DNA materials, okay, we have nucleus, and inside of the nucleus we have those DNA materials which carry the genetic information, okay, from the parents to their next to their children's, okay, or from one generation to another generation. And these informations are the ones which control the activities of the cells. So cells perform its function based on the instruction from these information which are stored, okay, within these genetic materials, so-called DNA. So these scientists, they discovered that within the cell there is a materials which carry inherited information, okay, which will be passed from one generation to another. A simple example of this point is maybe your height, okay, which you have now, or your skin color, or your hair texture. Okay, probably you may be inherited one of these characteristics which I have mentioned here from one of your parents, either from your mother or from your father, okay, or from any relatives, okay, in your family. Okay, that's the point he tries to explain in that way. And another point they talked about, all cells are basically the same in chemical composition. That means the chemicals which are found inside the cells, they are the same. Okay, if you may take any cell, maybe from maybe cells which are found, okay, on your skin, or cells which are found in your liver, or cells which are found in your brain, you may find out they have the same chemical composition, okay, in terms of cytoplasm. Okay, when you enter inside there, you may find things like glucose, they are there, okay, for provision of energy, okay, and other chemical substances. And the last point, they postulated that all the processes, okay, all life processes like respiration, like growth and development, like reproduction, okay, like nutrition, all of these life processes, they are taking place within a cell. So if you remove cell, that means no life. So when we are saying that cell is a basic unit of life, here it is where the point is that all life processes, they are taking place within a cell. That's why we are defining cell as a basic unit of life. So if you remove a cell, no life. So remember that one. So up to here, we have seen the meaning of a cell as a basic unit of life. Okay, I think you can remember what is life from Form 1. Okay, when you were discussing about the characteristics of living things, and you said life is an ability of an organism to respire, to move, to sense, okay, to reproduce, to excrete, okay. All of these are life processes, or in other words, we call them characteristics of living things. So you can have this connection that a cell is a basic unit of life. And if you know what is life, you can see the value of a cell, that all life processes, they are taking place within a cell. So I think after finishing this topic, you will be now familiar, okay, with what is a cell and what is the relationship between a cell and other processes which are taking place in your body. And you will be much careful with what you are taking in your body, because you know they will affect in one way or another your cells, and finally your body will be distracted, it will be destroyed. So let's proceed. uh, let's continue. Don't worry, the time will reach for you to ask some questions, and I will allow you to have discussion with me. about this short presentation. So after discussing about the meaning of the cell, examples of cells, okay, categories of organisms based on the number of cells which make the bodies, and after seeing the ideas, okay, about cell, okay, which have been suggested by different scientists. Now let's see characteristics of a cell. Okay, from those ideas suggested by different scientists, you may extract from there, okay, different characteristics of a cell. And characteristics number one is cells are living. Okay, so that is the first point. Okay, that cells themselves are living. So it means what? Okay, they are showing, okay, characteristics of life. So cells, they can move, okay, from one point to another, okay, but cells, they can take in food, okay, materials for the development and the growth, okay. That means they can undergo what we are calling nutrition. But also cells, they can respire, okay, they can take in oxygen and burn, okay, some chemical substances like glucose to produce energy for them to perform different functions. But cells as a living thing, they can excrete, okay? They can give out waste materials, okay? Like carbon dioxide, for example, or like excess water, they can give them out. So be in your mind that all cells are living. So if they are living thing, they can show characteristics of life. And number two, they are capable of growing and developing. Okay, all of these are characteristics of life. If you remember the definition of life, you can mention all of these. Okay, but also cells, they can move. Okay, for example, white blood cells in your bodies, they are moving from one part to another part, okay, when they are trying to fight with the microorganisms, when they have invading, okay, when they have invaded your bodies, okay, so white cells, okay, will be moving, okay, from one point to another to make sure that they are going to fight with those microorganisms. But also red blood cells, okay, they are moving, okay, in your body to supply, okay, oxygen gas. So they have that an ability to move, okay, from one point to another. The same way you are doing yourself, okay. But also they can reproduce, okay, because cells, they are living things. That means they can reproduce also, okay. For them to continue to survive, that means they have to reproduce, okay, so that they cannot be they cannot lose, okay, the copy. So in order for them to continue to be alive, they have to produce new cells, okay, especially when they are matured enough, okay, they have to do so to increase in number, but also, yeah, to increase in number. Another point is they are capable of detecting changes, okay, in the environment. Good examples are those cells which are found on your skin. Yeah, if someone pinch you, you will feel pain because you have special cells for that activity. But also if you may carry something which is very hot, okay, or you may touch something which is very hot like iron, okay, which we are using to iron our clothes, okay, on that part, okay, you will feel pain, okay, because you have special cells responsible for that one. But also we have special cells in our ears and in our eyes which enable us to detect the sound, okay, and even to detect light, okay. But also we have special cells in our tongues which are responsible to detect different tastes of things which we are eating. Okay, maybe it is sweet or it is sour or it is bitter. Okay, and things like that one. I would like to ask you. Okay, stop drawing on this part here. Okay, that is not good. That is not a good behavior. Okay, the last one. Yeah, that was the last point. So we have seen characteristics of living, characteristics of cells. Okay, now we are going to see types of cells. Okay, after understanding meaning of cells, examples, okay, categories of organisms based on number of cells, after seeing ideas of cell theory, and after seeing characteristics, now we are going to see, okay, types of cells. How can we categorize cells? We have number of cells, but we can group them into two major types. Okay, in primary schools, most of the students, they know that cells, they have only two types, which are animal cells and plant cells. But in this level, and when you are moving forward, okay, in A level or university, you will realize that we have two main types of cells, which are prokaryotic cells and eukaryotic cells. So today you will have an opportunity to understand, okay, these two main types of cells. So we have prokaryotic cells and eukaryotic cells. So we're going to start one after another, I mean to discuss it. One is the prokaryotic cells. Prokaryotic cells, these are the types of cells which lack the special membrane, okay, which surround the nuclear materials, okay, inside the cell. Okay, a structure, if you will take a look on the structure of a cell, okay, cell, it has different parts, okay, but we're talking about parts which are found inside of the cell. I mean, they are embedded in the cytoplasm, okay, structure like cell, like nucleus, okay, and other organelles, okay, like mitochondria, like chloroplast, okay, like Golgi apparatus, okay, all of those, okay, structures, they have special membrane, okay, which surround them. But unfortunately, these type of cell, I mean prokaryotic cells, they don't have those membrane. So in a simple way, you can define like this: prokaryotic cells are type of cells which lack special membrane, okay, that surround the nucleus and even other organelles which are found inside of the cell. The word pro means force. Okay, it comes from Greek words, so it means force, and karyotic means nucleus. So we have force nucleus. So if someone asks you in short, you can say prokaryotic cells, they are force cells. And the reason behind is they are lacking nuclear bound membrane. You can say like that one. And organisms which possess this type of cell, we are calling them prokaryotes. Please stop this one. We are calling them prokaryotes. Okay, we are calling them prokaryotes. And good examples of organisms which possess this type of cell, we call them, we have bacteria. Okay, we have bacteria. Okay, all types of bacteria, they have this type of cell. So you can see here the structure. You can see here the structure of bacteria. Okay, is an example of prokaryotic cell. They have this structure here which look like a thread. Okay, you can see here. Okay, this one here, it's like a tail. Okay, we call it flagella. Okay, it is used for movement. Okay, but also we have this one here at the center. Okay, they are like a collection of threads. Okay, we call them nuclear material. Okay, as you can see here, they don't have okay a membrane which cover them. Okay, so they are likely they are found okay oftenly okay in the cytoplasm. But also we have there is a thick layer with red color here. You can see okay this one here. Okay, it is cell membrane. Okay, which cover the internal parts of the bacteria. But also we have this one, the outer layer. Okay, it is called the cell wall. So you shall see this one okay in detail later on. So let's see characteristics of. Okay, I get you. Let's see the. Now let's see characteristics of prokaryotic cells. Characteristics number one, they don't have a true nucleus. They don't have a true nucleus. It means they have nuclear material, but but they are not okay bounded with the membrane. They are not bounded with a membrane. So we are saying that prokaryotic cells, they don't have a true nucleus. Point number two, they don't have membrane-bound organelles such as chloroplasts and mitochondria. So they don't have. Okay, point number three, prokaryotes reproduce by binary fission, okay, to produce two identical cells. So when they are mature, a good example is bacteria, okay. For example, this bacteria here, okay, when it is matured enough, okay, it will divide itself, okay, into two identical parts, okay, and those two identical new parts will develop and form two new bacteria. So this is how organisms which possess this type of cell, they are reproducing. If not by binary fission, they can reproduce by conjugation. Conjugation is when bacteria, one acts as a male and another one as a female. They are exchanging, okay, the nuclear material. So one bacteria will transfer, okay, uh, genetic material to another bacteria, okay, and this bacteria, okay, will divide itself into two. So they can reproduce either by binary fission, they can divide themselves, or after exchanging okay, the genetic material. Another one is prokaryotic cells are mostly smaller in size, okay, than eukaryotic cells. So it means that we cannot see them by our naked eyes. So we must use things like a microscope, okay, and or yeah, instrument like that one, which magnify small things, okay, to the size that we can see them. So remember this one: prokaryotic organisms or prokaryotic cells, they are small in size. And another point is some prokaryotes, okay, have whip-like structure called the flagella or flagellum. This structure is used for movement, like your legs. Okay, you have legs, so you are able to move from one point to another. The same way these organisms, they have this structure called the flagella, which help them to move. So bacteria, they have this structure, but also they have another structure called uh, pili. Okay, they are hair-like structure, okay, which help them or which enable them to attach, okay, to their host, okay, so as they can get, okay, different needs like food, okay, and other things. So they are using this structure here, okay, which look like hair, like a structure, okay, outside here for attachment. And the last one is prokaryote. Prokaryotes can be uh, can be rod shaped, can be spherical in shape, or spiral. Okay. So here are the examples of those shapes. Okay. We have this one spherical. This one is a rod. Okay. We have this one rod. This one here rod, and this one is a spiral. Okay, which is written here spirum. Okay, and this one also the same. So these are examples of the shape of prokaryotic cells. So we have seen type 1, okay, of cells, which is prokaryotic cells. So we are going to see the last part. Okay, the last one is eukaryotic cells. So we have seen prokaryotic cells simply means force cells, okay. That means cells which lack uh, membrane, okay, bound nucleus. So we are going to see eukaryotic cells. Eukaryotic cells, this is the type of cell, okay, which has a true nucleus. The word U means a true karyotic nucleus, so they have a true nucleus. So in a simple way, you can say that eukaryotic cells are true cells. And if someone asks you why, you have to say because they have a membrane which bound the nucleus. That is the reason behind. And those organisms which possess this type of cells, they are called the eukaryotes. And a good example is me and you and your friend and other organisms like dogs, okay, like cow, etc. Okay, all of these organisms, they are possessing this type of cells. Okay, so we are going to see the characteristics as usual as we have seen for prokaryotics. So characteristics number one of eukaryotic cells, they have a membrane bound nucleus. Okay, so they have a special structure which cover the nuclear materials called membrane. Okay, so their nucleus is surrounded with this structure. So that's why we are saying they are eukaryotic, means they have a true nucleus. But also they are generally bigger, okay, and more complex than prokaryotic cells. So we have seen prokaryotic cells, they are smaller, okay, than eukaryotic cells, but here we have seen that eukaryotic cells, they are bigger and more complex because they have different structures like organelles, like chloroplast, mitochondria, okay, which they have also inside or which they are embedded in the cytoplasm. So they are complex in that way. They are complex because they have additional structures inside of them but they are bigger in size compared to prokaryotic cells. And another point is they contain specialized membrane-bound organelles such as mitochondria. I have explained this one. This is another characteristic. So these characteristics is the one which make these types of cells to be more complex. Okay, because we have seen that prokaryotic cells, they don't have this structure. And the last one, a eukaryote, okay, reproduced by either sexual or asexual means. So, sexually is through the process of either oogenesis or spermatogenesis. You will cover this one, okay, when you are discussing reproduction in Form 3. So don't worry, you will see how the cells they are reproducing sexually, okay, but also a sexually good example is like binary fission, okay, and a good example is yeast, okay, or we have, okay, amoeba, okay, a good example is amoeba, okay, which reproduce through, okay, asexual means, okay, that means one amoeba divide itself, okay, into two identical parts, okay, the same way bacteria do. So these are examples of, these are characteristics of eukaryotic cells. And here, okay, is the end of my presentation. So I would like to say in brief that I have presented to you the meaning of a cell, and I'm sure if I could be able to ask you, you could be able to tell me, but also even the examples and uh, characteristics of living, characteristics of cells, okay, but also we have seen, okay, ideas of the cell theory, and we have seen types of cells. There are two, eukaryotic and prokaryotic, and we have seen the characteristics and even their structure. So the coming next is part of uh, part of discussion. So we are going to have a brief discussion. Okay, we are going to have discussion. Can mute mic is open. Fine. Okay. Okay, my student, I would like to ask you to unmute your microphone, and now we are going to have a discussion, okay, an open discussion.
Yes. You know,
Now,
this English.
okay, listen, please.
Okay.
Okay, listen please, listen please. So we are going to have a short discussion about what I have presented here. But before going to discuss what I'm going to ask you to discuss, I would like to hear from you. Maybe there is a point you need more clarification from what I have presented a few minutes ago. You're welcome. Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Anyone please with a question? Yes. Tell us your name.
Abakar.
Yes, Abubakar, you're welcome, brother.
I didn't understand at the part of pro.
You did understand
Prokaryotic.
about what is
Prokaryotic cells.
prokaryotic cells.
And eukaryotic
Okay,
cells.
okay. I'm sure there are some of you who have understood, okay, that concept. Anyone who can try to explain, please, what is prokaryotic cells? Anyone who can volunteer? Now, feel free to teach yourself, okay? Anyone, please. I would like to advise you to sit in one place, please. Don't move because you are causing some interference. Okay, when we are talking about prokaryotic cells, I have said simply you can
Prokaryotic
define
cells.
like. Hello?
Hello. Hello.
I have said simply you can define as a false self. Simply you can define as a cell which lacks nuclear bound membrane. Are we together? Unmute your microphone. Okay, mute your microphone if you are not asking any question. Mute your microphone, please.
Ready.
Okay, some of you not yet. Mute your microphone. Anyone with another question? Yes? Okay, I have two questions and I want you to discuss, okay? Here, okay? Question number one is, why bacteria is categorized as a prokaryotic organism? So, unmute your microphone and give a reason. After finishing, mute your microphone again. Can you see this question here? A. Part A. Why bacteria is categorized as a prokaryotic organism?
Don't rush. Slow down.
Okay, another one.
ukaonekana mbicho mbaya wallahi.
Halo.
Wah, Sleman. Wah, Sleman. Wah, profesor. Ada juga video dekat. Wah, Sleman. Abu Bakar. Abu Bakar Siddiq. Wah, Sere.
Acheni fujo.
Wah. Sudah habis kasih nama miliknya Sere.
Hello. Have you understood the question? Hello. Who can try to tell us about why are we categorizing or why are we grouping bacteria into prokaryotic organisms? Okay, I'm going to initiate this discussion by mentioning one point. We are categorizing bacteria into prokaryotic organisms simply because they don't have membrane which surround the nuclear materials. Okay. Anyone else who can add another point? Anyone who can add another point? Unmute your microphone and tell us.
Bakar kamtumia message vipi?
Or you can comment here. You can send a comment.
Copy your message. Vipi? Sasa tukishaondoka kaandika vipi? Kaandika poa. Kwa mjuba. Mimi naonekana. Naonekana. Niza. Kama kama nimejini. Unasikika.
Okay, the second question, who can tell us why cell is defined as a basic unit of life? Who can try to tell us the reason behind? why are we defining that cell is a basic unit of life? Leila. Leila Khalfan. Hello, students.
Teacher.
Leila, tell us.
Because cells are controlling the whole body.
Because cells are
Controlling the whole body.
the whole body. Okay, can you mention things which are controlled by cells in the body?
Kitu ambacho kina control cell in the body ni?
Yeah, good example.
Nucleus.
No. I'm talking about activities, okay, which are controlled by cells in the body.
Growth.
Growth, very good. Another one?
Nutrition.
Nutrition, very good. Another one?
Respiration.
Respiration, mashallah. Another one?
Movement.
Movement, very good. So if someone asks you,
Sensitivity.
yes, very good, very good, very good.
Reproduction.
Very good, mashallah. Another one?
Excretion. Message. Musa dimona haingia online.
Okay, very good. So lastly, I would like you to do this question here. Okay? Can you see here? Here it is written individual quiz.
Yeah.
So I would ask you to do them now and send them, okay, via comments here down. So just comment here, okay?
Okay.
Yeah. I'm giving you 5 minutes. Okay?
Define the time cell. Hurry up, define the time cell. Should be.
As it was here.
Don't discuss, okay? This is an individual task, okay? So do it yourself.
Is the basic unit.
Remember, this is your task. You don't ask anyone.
Nasoma hii ndio kwanza tunasoma hapa. Lele. Basta.
Okay, good. Continue. Continue. Question number 2. Question number 2. Question number 2, continue. Question number 2. Question number 2. Okay.
Yes.
You have done question number 2.
Put on the screen sharing.
Okay.
Unaandika?
Okay, they are here. Can you see them? Question number 2, please.
What do you understand by the following terms?
Just really correct and correct.
Question number 2.
Question number 2.
Organism composed of cell and
Eukaryotic organisms
composed.
How do you understand? My question is how do you understand guys? How do you understand following things?
Information. Inherited in Indonesia.
Suppose you need to fly this down for characteristics.
All life force take place in the cell.
Nini hapo nasinzia?
Take place in the cell. Naomba tusiambie. Moja baada kuamua tukaje la pedi
Nakuja.
Ubao kwa.
Hazine.
Hazina.
Miwani ya mtumba hiyo wewe. Nani ya mtumba mpaka? Unmute your microphone please when you are doing this work.
Unmute baadaye. Yaani unmute baadaye. Unmute ni?
Iko yote kisema.
Yes, mama.
Okay, listen to me please. I have seen your answers, I mean your responses, and most of you have done well, but there are some points to make correction, like the definition of the term cell. Okay, we have said that we are defining it as a basic unit of life, okay? So it is a very simple definition that you can remember, but it's not good to say it is a building blocks of life. It's okay, it's true, but prefer to use that one, okay? The basic unit of life of all living things. And the best term to remember to add there is the word living things. Okay, don't forget that one. But also I have seen here some, this one is a good response that we are saying that cell is a basic unit of life because all life processes are taking place, okay, in the cell. Very good for somebody called Leila Khalfan. Okay, Leila Khalfan, you have done well, okay, in this question. And all of you, okay, you have tried to your level best to attempt those questions. So I have two announcements, okay, and we are going to wind up our session in this way. I have sent to you, okay, if not now, as I will send to you an assignment, okay, through our group, okay, in Telegram. There you will see an assignment for this session of today, and you're supposed to do it, okay, there. What you're supposed to do is to click, okay, that link. It will open, and inside of it you will find that an assignment or a quiz. You will attempt those questions there, and then you will submit. And after submission, you will get your feedback immediately, okay, after submitting your quiz. So I would like to ask you again, okay, because you have given me your time, okay, but also I would like to ask you, okay, to continue cooperating with me even after this session. Go there and do that quiz, okay. It will give me feedback, okay, maybe we were together or not, but also it will help you to evaluate yourself, okay. The second thing is, thank you very much for being with me in this session. I appreciate all of you guys. You are doing amazing work, and I would like to ask you to continue cooperating with me for the rest of sessions. One thing very important, please try to inform your friends, okay, that we have this program, okay. It is there, okay. It will be there every day, okay, until maybe schools are opened. If not, we shall proceed with this program. So we need even this program to reach to everyone, okay, as much as we can. So I would like to use this opportunity to ask you to invite your friends, okay, from different schools, okay, no matter it is Islamic or it is government school. The issue here is all of us were supposed to continue with our studies, okay. The issue of corona, okay, COVID-19 is not a big deal, okay. Academic issues must proceed as usual. So please use this time to invite your friends.